Hello. Today what I want to do is I want to go over some different types of camp stoves and my thoughts on each one. How I choose a camp stove for the trip I'm going to go on. I do a lot of campfire cooking and really enjoy that as well. But sometimes I don't want to process all the wood. There may be an area that doesn't have a whole lot of firewood for me to process, or I'm not allowed. So that's where stove options come into play. Where I'm allowed to burn wood and gather wood, then I'll take options like this here. This is a wood gasifier stove. This one here is a Bushcraft Essentials twig stove. And both of these I have used many times and really enjoy them. They only take a few twigs and branches, and the good thing about these, as long as I keep feeding branches or twigs into them, they keep going. They burn very efficient, and I can boil for hours if I wanted to, just by keeping on adding some twigs that I can find in the area. So it makes it a very good survival type stove if I wanted to have a stove for that instance, or a bug out bag and so on. But I use these here for camping, and I'm out here pretty much weekly year round in any weather. These here have done me very well. I can process the wood even if it's pouring rain to be able to cook with one of these stoves. These here are those stoves up close. This one here is a wood gasifier, and you fill up the chamber, and then you put this on top. You light your fire, you can feed in through here, and what this does is the gases heat up and the fire will come out through here and give it basically a secondary burn, thus creating less smoke in your fire. Now, this works pretty decent. Boils water rather quickly. There are faster stoves than wood, but wood works really well out here. This here is a twig stove as well. That one, you just put wood in and light it up, and you feed through that front opening. Has a pot stand, just 2 bars that go across. And this one I've used a lot. What I like about this one is I turn it upside down, give it a shake, and it folds so compact. This is a Bushcraft Essentials stove, and I've got a video on this that I can put a link. This one, I turn this around like that. I take this and put over top, and it's that compact as well. Next are the canister type stoves. This one has a hose, remote feeding hose that I can screw onto here. Also has a self-igniter and a very nice base. This one works exceptional, and it boils fast. These type of canister stoves, you have also the ones that screw right on top of the canister. These here are great for when you don't want to start a fire or not allowed to start a fire. These ones can come in very handy. They will simmer, where it's harder sometimes to get a twig stove to simmer. But these ones here, you can simmer it right down. You can turn it on full to boil water and such. So you have an adjustable flame. Very useful and very compact as well, and light. So very good choice for many types of campouts. But you can't get your fuel out here in the bush like you can a twig stove. So each one has its benefits, but this one here, if you have fuel, is a very good option. Alcohol stoves. Alcohol stoves I have used for years. Now, the propane and the canister type stoves, also the alcohol stoves. If it's very cold temperatures, that can be a problem. They don't work as well. This one here I've used in the cold. It doesn't work as well in the cold, but this one here isn't pressurized, so it does not affect it like some alcohol stoves that are pressurized, because the cold can really affect them. This one here, I can actually turn this a little bit like this to have this as a simmer ring. It just pops off, but it's also a cap that after I light my stove, I can drop it on and put my stove out. This one also has a lid that I can store alcohol in here, but you light this up in the middle and flames will come out these ports. It's a pretty decent boil time. I usually, this one here, put about a couple ounces in it, and I can bring water to a boil and a little bit. It's according on the temperature again. But these type of stoves here are good for boiling water or cooking fast meals. That's what these are good for. Canister stove, you can cook longer as long as you have the fuel. And twig stove, as long as you keep putting wood in it, they'll last hours. So another very good option. And it's according on what you plan on doing, what you're going to choose when you go out there. This here is a solid fuel stove. This one, you put a tab in it, light it, you put your pot on top. Great for an emergency stove, very lightweight. It's great for on the trail or a day hike or just camping. If you want something quick and easy, nice and light, this is a good option. Now, this here also has the option of being collapsible. Takes up very little room. So that is a few of the stoves that I use on camping trips, hiking trips and such. And each one has its place. They have their advantages and disadvantages. Solid fuel stoves, you put a tablet in, they'll basically bring 2 cups of water to a boil with 1 cube. Add a second if you want longer burn times and such. But it's that there is just for a quick burn. Just something to heat some water up, pour into a meal, and or have a hot drink and go. That's mostly what they're for. They're also good for emergencies. But all those stoves are good for emergencies. Even though twig stove's good for an emergency, just take it outside if you're gonna burn with it. But then you have your alcohol stoves. I have used those on many camp trips, hikes, and for an emergency, power go out, and so on. So very useful. The propane or canister type stoves, they come in very handy. Sometimes I just do not want to make a fire, or I'm not allowed. I made thousands of fires, and sometimes it's just nice to go out on a camp trip and just use the canister type stoves. Then the twig stoves. I love those as well, because many times I do want to have a fire, and that allows me to do so. So I want to thank you for watching, and I hope this just gives you some ideas of what these stoves are used for, and they may help you come up with a plan or a choice of what you would like to take out on your next outing, whether it be a day hike or on the trail, or even a camp out for the night or a week. It's up to you. Thanks for watching, take care, and all the best.